I like sci-fi because it really lets us look into this imaginary future and thinking about how technology can be used to kind of like better humanity or to use it in new ways that humanity's never thought of. And that's super applicable to the blockchain space.
Welcome to Build Mode On, where the biggest builders, boldest voices, and wildest visionaries in Web3 come to share their story. Filmed from the front lines of the crypto revolution, you've got top conferences, backstage deals, and the real alpha coming straight from your source. So if you're here to build, you're here to invest, or just stay 10 steps ahead, you're in the right place. Every like, every comment, every share helps me unlock bigger guests, better conversations, and insights you're not going to get anywhere else. Let's dive into it.
Well, we're here at Consensus 2025 Toronto. Maybe tell the people who you are, what you're all about, and what you're here for.
Yeah, I'm Dylan Grabowski. I'm a writer for Neo News Today. I've been covering the Neo ecosystem since 2018, and I also am the host of a podcast called the Smart Economy Podcast that's protocol agnostic. So we talk to anyone and everyone building on blockchain.
So tell me about the podcast. What has been like your favorite part about interviewing people or doing a podcast?
I probably listened to my fair share of like 10,000 hours of podcasts since getting into the crypto space in 2017. One of my favorite things about hosting the pod is giving the guests the experience that I like to listen to in other people's podcasts. So really digging into the person's background right when you start talking with them. So it's really easy to kind of like draw the conversation out of them and they feel super comfortable. So that way we can cover all sorts of interesting topics. And I really just love like feeling like I haven't, by the end of the interview, like I've turned over every stone, that there's nothing else to say and that they had an enjoyable 1 hour that they shared the mic with me.
So when you're talking about uncovering things and we're talking about learning about Dylan, if you're talking about sharing your ideal Saturday afternoon, what does that look like?
Oh man. Generally, I like to start my Saturdays reading for a couple hours.
And what do you read?
Right now I'm reading a lot of sci-fi. I just finished reading this year the Dune series, the Foundation series. I like sci-fi because it really lets us look into this imaginary future and thinking about how technology can be used to kind of like better humanity or to use it in new ways that humanity's never thought of. And that's super applicable to the blockchain space because we're such an innovative, cutting edge industry that having crazy ideas and futuristic visions is something we can actually do today.
So yeah, do you feel like with Web3, is that kind of like science fiction becoming like reality for us?
Yeah, man. I mean, like, look at just like what Bitcoin offers in general. A third of the world can't gain access to bank accounts because banks don't want to give these people bank access because they might not be seen as worthy enough because they don't have enough money. And now you have this magic internet that touches everyone with a cell phone and they can gain access to an international monetary network. Like, what a cool piece of technology. And we're literally living in the future right now where a farmer in some village in Uganda can send me value with cryptocurrency, and I live in the US. So that's just with money, let alone like what we're talking about with like identity solutions or even DeFi, or great ways to kind of like connect content creators with their fans. We've just like never been able to connect people more easily. And I think blockchain is a huge sort of solution for that. And that's why I love sci-fi. You read these books and you're talking about like flying through space and alien species, but there's some core tenets about how people interact with one another that we can always take away from these future thinking individuals.
Big time.
Yeah, and just like apply it to a super cutting edge, innovative industry.
There was something you touched on about a farmer in Uganda being able to send you money. I feel like that is a big light switch moment for a lot of people, seeing not only the ability for someone to send you currency or value, but also how did you feel about the speed of transactions that you see, like, was that a light switch moment for you, seeing not only like how easy it is for someone to send money, but the speed of transactions?
Yeah, I mean, so like we're at Consensus 2025 in Toronto. You found me at the Neo booth. I got into crypto in 2017, and one of like the big aha moments for me was back in 2017, there was only one DEX. It was called Shapeshift. And when I bought my first Ethereum, I bought a hardware ledger, and I was like, I want to gain access to all these different tokens that are out there. And so I basically went to Shapeshift, and any token that was on Shapeshift that had ledger support, I swapped ETH for it, and I sent those tokens to my ledger, and it was just like a huge aha moment for me. Like, holy shit, I just like traded these things. I don't even know what they are. I know this technology excites me. I read like a little blurb on their website, and I was like, fuck it, let's get that token. And so that's actually like a large part of the reason why I'm even in Neo today. There's a wallet called Neon Wallet, and when I sent my Neo to the Neon Wallet in 2017, I walked away and I came back, and in the Neo ecosystem, you have the Neo token and you get passively distributed gas. And I was like, what is gas? Why did I just get this passively distributed token? And that sent me on a rabbit hole of becoming an expert on the Neo documentation that was out there. And 2.5 months later, I started working at the job I have now after I got my first Neo. And it was life-changing.
So you're working in the future.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Yeah. It was really, really insane. That was like an aha moment that clicked for me. And I thought, if I, an American who's speculating on this cryptocurrency, if like someone living around the world for the first time ever got access to this, imagine how that blows their minds.
Yeah. It's pretty incredible too, being in North America, me from Canada, you from the US, how we look at crypto in terms of the value that we are comparing to the US dollar. When you're looking at emerging countries though, they're not able to access that US dollar. The value of those cryptocurrencies to them is like, I'm struggling to find the word for it, but it's like more valuable than US dollars and easier to transact with.
Yeah, so yesterday I orange pilled my Uber driver. His name's Mohammed, he's from Kenya. And he's like, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm here for a crypto conference. Oh, crypto, cool. And I was like, do you know about Bitcoin? He's like, no. And so I just gave him like the basic spiel, you know, like peer-to-peer, decentralized money. And he was like, oh, okay, I can kind of understand that. And I was like, Mohammed, you're from Kenya. Like, have you ever had to send $100 back to your family? He's like, yeah. And I was like, I bet you lost like $20 to $25 in fees going through that. And he's like, oh yeah. And that for him was the aha moment that clicked. International remittance, sending money back to his family. He's watched it get evaporated by fees. And after that, he was like, how do I get a Bitcoin? What's a wallet? How do I download a wallet? What's a seed for? He was like really bought in. And it was that moment that clicked for him, and it was sending money back to his family in Kenya.
Isn't that incredible though, when people find that real world connection? As soon as something like different that crypto is, or something that's, you know, everybody hears about crypto, there's stories about crypto, but as soon as people can take that real world application that they understand, it's like boom, they immediately can understand how they can use it and how it can benefit them. So talk about Neo. Give people like a quick little elevator speech about Neo. Like, those that haven't heard about Neo, like what do they need to know?
So Neo's an OG chain. It was conceptualized in 2014, testnet launched in 2015, mainnet launched in 2016. It is as old as Ethereum, and it used to be like the Cinderella coin during the ICO boom in 2017, because CryptoKitties clogged Ethereum and people wanted to launch ICOs, so they came over to Neo because you could tokenize. And so Neo had like this spectacular time in the sun in 2017, and it's just like never risen back to that. But the beauty of this ecosystem is that the developers who've been working on Neo since back then are still here. So this is like a Cinderella story for builders, because you can hear about all these shiny blockchain projects that come out. You can hear about all these new L2s. They rise in hype and then they die. I don't know how many projects from 2017 are still out and building. So that's kind of like my homage to the length of time that Neo's been able to survive.
There's probably a handful of projects, if that are still around.
And like for the podcast, I interviewed someone who did an ICO with a project called Telcoin. And I was just like, wow, man, like you're one of the only ICO projects I've interviewed, and I've been doing this podcast for 4 years. So like even after I started the podcast in 2020, by 3 years, all the ICO projects were already basically gone. So that's a testament, like a testament to the projects that launched back then and didn't quite survive. So that's like part of like how old is Neo? Where did it come from? The elevator pitch is Neo is a polyglot chain, which means that you can code in Python, Golang, TypeScript, C#, or Java, a language a programmer is familiar with, and it has a dual token model. You vote for who you want to validate the network with Neo, and you passively earn the gas token, which is the utility token. So you can launch dApps on top of Neo, and it has a really fast, energy efficient architecture.
Awesome, man. Well, I mean, I'm bullish on it. I'm bullish on everything crypto, but yeah, man, thank you for sharing your breakdown. Thank you for sharing a little bit about you. How can people find a little bit about the podcast, you, Neo?
Yeah, so go to the neonewstoday.com webpage and go find Neo News Today on YouTube. We have all of the videos that we've done at all of these events that showcase the really cool activations we've done. When you were at the booth, you saw a ton of people were there because we're giving
hats. The hats are awesome.
And to get the hats, you have to go to 5 different stands, scan them with your NFC reader on your phone, and then you come to find one of us manning the booth at the end, and we burn your taps. It's an actual on-chain transaction. And in the years I've been coming to Consensus, I've never seen another booth other than us actually showcase blockchain at their booth. So that's me shilling the hard work that we do. Check out the YouTube channel for Neo News Today, neonewstoday.com. Check out my podcast at smarteconomypodcast.com. And I'm always shit posting on Twitter at Grabowski Dylan. So
awesome.
Go catch me there too.
Okay, I gotta go get a hat.
Let's go.
Awesome. Thanks, man.